Chapter 3: The Islands West of Sumatra. Part 2: The Mentawei Islands. Introduction. The Mentawei Islands consist of the northern island Siberut, the intervening island Sipora, and the southern islands North and South Pagi. The Mentawei is derived from the native word from a man or a male simantiu. The natives call themselves, however, Sakalangan, or human beings. The name Siberut means the most. Siberut and Sipora were called originally good fortune because of the discovery by a Dutch sea captain at the time of shipwreck. These islands are later designated as one island under the name of Isle de la Fortune in a French atlas of 1692, when it became known that the two islands were separate. The larger was called Big Lock Island, and the smaller Little Lock Island. On most of the English and North American maps, the two northern islands are called Mentawei, and the Nasi or Atjeh Islands are considered separate. Correctly, the entire group should be called the Mentawei Islands. In spite of the great difference in culture between Mentawei and most of the peoples of Sumatra, the distance between the mainland and the western island the western island group is not very great. In clear whether one can stand the military station of Sawang in North Page and see the cloth bedeck peak of Kurinci, although the coastline of Sumatra itself remains concealed. Culturally, there exists a rather wide difference between Siberut and the islands to the south. Siberut, especially in the northern part, bears certain resemblances to Nias, since the people make use of the spear and shield as well as the bow and arrow, practice head hunting, and have purchased marriage. Siberut, in contrast to the Pari Islands, is as yet but little known, but from information lately published by Wilkes, it appears not unlikely that the region has undergone that diffusion from Nias. One of the villages of Siberut, called Simalegi, was settled by Niha, coming from the Batu Islands. An African dialect still is spoken there, which shows relationship to the Nias language. The customs of the village also resemble those of Nias. Mentawei, Enggano, and the Nicobar Islands have been classified by Heinegardен as having very archaic and primitive culture. They are alike in their lack of rice culture and grain. On Enggano and the Mentawei Islands, sago and tubular roots as taro are the chief nourishment. Weaving and metal work are unknown, and Mentawei and Enggano likewise lack metal chewing. None of the three regions have the blowpipe. Mentawei of metal aspect in the Mentawei as an aspect to the West Indonesia has the bow. In certain aspects of material culture, as the round pile house, there is a relationship between Enggano and the Nicobars, and the fish nets of Mentawei resemble those of the Nicobars. In respect to their two non-material culture, the islands of Mentawei and Enggano are lacking in ships and have a democratic form of government as opposed to the divine chieftaincy of Nias. Some trace of Hindu influence may be seen, however, in the Mentawei customs of chicken and pig sacrifice, the communal meal, and in the arts of divination, especially that of hepatoscopy. On the other hand, The mythology of Mentawai has remained comparatively untouched by Hindu influence, and there are neither creators nor creation stories. Concerning the original home of the Mentawai people, little is known. It is generally supposed that the Mentawaians immigrated from Sumatra to Nias and thence to Siberut. From an account of the year 1921, it seems clear that Siberut was the only one of the Mentawei Islands that at the time inhabited. The Pari Islanders have retained traditions of migrations to the southern islands and the founding of the first village of North Pari Taikako. If therefore the Mentawaians represent an archaic Sumatra culture, maintained in isolation from Hindu influence, a study of the region should prove of unusual interest. Naturally, certain traits as the elaboration of the sacrificial or punan system are of modern rather than archaic source. The Mentawai Islands have never been a source of wealth or great interest to the Dutch government. The first scientific account of the Page was written by an Englishman, John Crisp, in 1799 and utilized by Marsden. The group as a whole was nominally made a Dutch colony in 1864, and Dutch officials and Malay police set in charge. It was not until 1904, however, that the Dutch actually placed a garrison on the islands. This was at the time of the Russo-Japanese War, and the Dutch did not wish a foreign power to utilize the islands as a naval station. The German missionary led attempt to convert the natives in 1901. The Dutch made use of him as interpreter. The people of Page believed that if they got rid of the interpreter, they would hinder the white colonization, and it was for reason that lad was killed by a blow on the head in 1909. In 1915, the commander of the Malay police was shot and killed with a poisoned arrow when he attempted to arrest a murderer. The present missionary Borger has for 20 years maintained amicable relations with the natives, who on the whole are a good-natured and friendly people when not molested in the native customs and religion. He has converted two Page villages, Silabu and Saumangamia. Individuals, apart from villages, can be converted only under penalty of ostracism. In the following description of Mentawai culture, an account of the Page Islands always is indicated unless Sipora and Siberut is directly mentioned. The Page culture not only is the best known and the one directly investigated by the peasant writer, but it also is the purest culture, that is, the one least influenced by Nias. It seems probable that a great part of the Nias influence came into northern Siberut after the Page Islanders had migrated to southern islands. The language of Page is somewhat different from that of Sipora and greatly differs from that of Siberut. Natives of Page and Siberut are mutually unable to understand one another.